Today we're doing this. This is the master cylinder for my Honda Accord. It's a 2013 V6 manual transmission, obviously. I was hoping to fix a problem that it has, which is if you hold the clutch pedal down for quite a while, and then you let up, it's fine, but then the minute you go to push it for a second time to shift into second, or if you're in stop and go traffic to get into first, the clutch fully engages about that far off of the floor. But I'm going to give you a warning. This didn't fix the problem, okay? So if you're coming here with hopes that you're going to get off cheap and not need a clutch, I'm sorry, you need a clutch. But if you're here because you actually do need a master cylinder, I'm going to show you how. Now, I'm going to apologize. A lot of this is not visible because the master cylinder is tucked up way under the firewall, between the firewall and the strut tower. So I'm going to do my best. Please forgive me for not being perfect. So what kind of tools do you need? You will need a 10mm wrench or socket. You will need a 10mm, a 17mm line wrench. You will need a little screwdriver like this, which will make sense in a bit. You will also need a 12mm socket with a universal joint, or a breaker bar from 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch, doesn't really matter, as long as the head swivels like this. Trust me, you're gonna want that. Obviously, we disconnect the battery, and that's because we have to move the fuse box, and I do not want anything touching. However, before you disconnect the battery, I recommend moving your seat all the way back. I recommend removing the fuse box to get access to back there. It makes it easier. There's a 10mm nut up here, and then we have these two bolts here, also 10mm. Just be sure to disconnect your brake booster hose before you do that. I'm just going to kind of push this down here, and then so I don't lose track of the bolts, I'm going to put them back. This is going to be a mother, I can already tell. Up under there, you're going to put your 17 on the big guy there, and then you're going to put your 10 on the little guy and do that. And you can use the 17 to adjust as you need so you don't hit the firewall or the strut tower brace area. There is one single 10mm bolt holding on the clutch fluid reservoir. I've stuck a rag in here and drained most of the excess fluid. So, here's your clutch pedal. Here's bolt number 1 and bolt number 2. Now, as you'll see, this piece of shit is in the way. I don't know what it's for, but we need it out of the way. So you pull on the sides, and then you have this, you just turn, and off it goes. There's going to be a pin on your master cylinder holding it to the pedal that's held on with this clip. As you can see, it's hooked, so if you just try to pull it, it's not going to cooperate with you. But if you twist it and pull it, it forces it up over there, and then you can get it off. So remember, don't just pull, twist and pull. It'll treat you right. So neither the socket nor the wrench will fit up there, so I have to take this fucking trim piece off. This pops up, and then we can pull this out of here, hypothetically. There we go. And now, with all that said and done, we can disconnect these two nuts. So we should be good to remove this whole thing now. And there she is. We're gonna have to reuse this, so we'll take that off. But I'm pushing on this, and I'm kind of sad because this feels normal. Now, in the spirit of f it, we're gonna take this apart and see if anything looks off. Oh, I see. So it seals there. Interesting. Part of me just wants to take the whole rest of it apart. Alright, we got a snap ring in here. Nope, I don't think this is going to fix our problem. I really don't. Well, whatever. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the new one to where the old one was, from this point to this point. Put our reservoir back on. No pliers, like a boss. This fitting does not come with the new master cylinder, so you have to remove this pin here and take it out of your old one, and then put this back in here and put it into your new master cylinder. So now this is good to go in the car once we're done. So now I have the new master cylinder just kind of sitting there. Before I go into the car and secure the bolts, I'm going to attach the clutch line to this loosely, because it's a lot easier to do that while the master cylinder is loose in there than it would be if everything was tightened down to spec. Alright, we've put the two nuts back on the master cylinder up here under the firewall area, and we put the clip back on. Easy to do. You really don't need any advice on that. Put you back on. Now, when you're bleeding it, I can recommend loosening the bleeder screw and then leaving the cap off and letting it gravity bleed for a while. Just stand there and fill it back up as you need. If you have a better one of these than I do, you could use that as well. Mine didn't work too well because it's kind of old. In the Accord, the clutch pedal will stay. And then you can go close the bleeder valve, and it makes it an easy one-man job. Close the valve. Still got fluid. Slowly let up the clutch. And then we just repeat that until we're good to go. So you already know that this didn't work from what I told you earlier, but look. We hold the clutch down. We're gonna wait 10 seconds. Now that we've waited 10 seconds, I let off of the clutch. Now we're gonna push it in again. And it won't go into gear. And as you see, the car wants to move. So, yeah, that's a problem. And then the clutch sticks, unless I pump it. And then I pump it a few more times. And then we can go into first, second, all that, like normal. It pisses me off. So, I'm sorry if you were looking for a way out of doing a clutch on one of these cars. It seems like there's no way around it. You just gotta replace the clutch. The Accord uses a self-aligning pressure plate, which literally none of the other models do. In fact, an Acura TL uses the same engine and transmission bolt patterns and everything as this car, but it's not a self-aligning pressure plate. So in the distant future, I might try swapping that over to this Accord. They also sell an aftermarket single mass flywheel with a regular clutch kit as well, but that's $600, and then I have to pull the engine and do all the work on that. So distant future. But anyway, I hope this video helped you if you were doing your master cylinder and you needed it. I genuinely hope it fixes your problem. As usual, you be good while I'm gone, and I will see you next time. Have a good week.